Sometimes as sales professionals, our mindset is the thing that hold us back. Today, we're going to break down some of those mindsets to help you to find deals and opportunities that are right underneath your nose. I know you're going to love this one. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode today, we're going to be talking to Natasha, who's going to tell us a little bit more about how we can adjust that mindset. Because for many of us, we have those limited beliefs. Natasha runs an amazing organization helping entrepreneurs to be able to get past some of those limiting beliefs and to be able to grow the clientele that they need and to not overwork themselves. She's going to show you, and she's going to give a good glimpse today into how we can go about doing so, specifically with making sure we change the way that we think, some of the limiting beliefs that hold us back when it comes towards sales, and some of the specific strategies and tactics that she takes advantage of that helped her to get where she's at today. Now, if this is your first time listening to our podcast, please consider subscribing. If you're watching one of our videos, hit that bell. We'll notify you every time we have an amazing new episode like today. Now, we won't take too much of your time. We're going to dive in. You're going to get a chance to hear about Natasha. Now, one thing I do want to mention, if you haven't done so already, you're looking for ways to increase your clientele, to get more prospects, one thing you could do as well is to adopt LinkedIn if you're a B2B sales professional. Check out go to thesalesevangelist.com/LinkedIn to get access to our training program. And we guarantee you're going to get at least 3 appointments per week utilizing LinkedIn without spamming. Find the details there and check it out. Let's go ahead and see what Natasha had to share and how we can use this strategy as well to help us to be able to get the clients and the sales we need. Natasha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Donald. Excited to be here.
Of course. And especially anytime I get a chance to chat about mindset and, the way that we think, I get pumped. But more particularly, especially around how this is going to help us to increase sales. Like we sometimes, I feel as sales professionals or sellers, no matter what you're selling, we tend to go hard and do some complicated things when actually we don't have to. And that's why I really want to tap into this conversation today and just kind of pick your brain on that. To help us to be a little bit more successful at it. But why don't you take a few minutes and tell us a little bit more about what you do and all that fun stuff.
Sure. So I'm Natasha Ho. I'm the owner of The All-In Woman, and I help creatives, coaches, and consultants to be able to attract more premium clients. I help you find people that you love to work with and that love to pay you, basically. And we do that through packaging. Yeah, it's in a simple sense. You find people that love you and they love to give you money and you love them back. And so we package, position, market your offer, and I teach you how to close clients consistently.
Love it. How did you get involved in this?
So my background is in marketing. So I went to school for marketing. I grew up in the same, I think, kind of conditions that a lot of us grow in, where parents tell you, go to college, get a good job. That's the path to success. And I did that. I went to the very prestigious school and I got the degree. And then I started working at these big companies and I was making money and moving up through the rungs. But I remember at one point I was like, I don't want my boss's job. I actually have no interest in having my boss's job. So it's like, what does that mean for me and my future at this company and in this career? And I had this dream that I wanted to do more. And one of the things that really appealed to me was I was watching another entrepreneur. Her name is Zim Flores. She started this company called Travel Noir, and she was building this company around travel. And I was like, that sounds really cool. And she was traveling the world and she started her own business. It's like, I want to do that. And so I started playing with this idea of being an entrepreneur, and I tried lots of different things. I tried creating a course. I tried becoming kind of an influencer. I tried all the different things. I was like, build my list, do all these things. And I was working on that for many years while doing my corporate gig, and it just wasn't really working. And it wasn't until 2020, I actually lost my corporate job and I had to figure out what to do from there. So I had an 8-month-old baby. We had a mortgage. We had healthcare bills, all of this. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I met a mentor, and he was really the person who made the biggest difference, because I told him I had this idea, I wanted to talk about food and travel. And he's like, okay, go sell it. And I was like, what? I have to like create something first. I don't know what I'm selling. He's like, no, 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 no. Go sell it first and make sure that people actually want to buy this. He's like, and if you don't know how to sell, you need to hire me so I can teach you how to sell. So I hired him. He taught me how to sell. Within 6 weeks of me creating the offer, I had made $20,000 in sales.
What?
And yeah. And from there, that's really what took off. So I started with my first business, which was teaching people I did virtual cooking lessons, and I
Hmm.
taught people about foods and cuisines from all around the world. And then from there, I started doing consulting work around marketing. And I just did that a little bit. Like I got my feet wet, and then people were like, oh, like this is like the gold. Like I could do more of
Yeah.
this. So I started focusing on that. I ran a retreat. I did a retreat in New Orleans, which I sold that and made $24,000 from doing that retreat. It's like, oh, okay, like there's money to be had out here. I just have to like know how to access it. And
Yeah.
so that's really what sparked my desire to do more of this, because it was like, I want to help other people access this and realize this, specifically Black women entrepreneurs, because
Mm.
so many of us grow up with that idea of go to school, get a good job. And when it's no longer fulfilling and you know that you're called to do something else, how do you actually turn that mission into something that will provide you with a lifestyle that's sustainable and that brings you the wealth that you desire for you and for your family and for future generations? So that's why I do what I do. That's how I got here.
So powerful. I love it, and I think in that you're going to tap into this whole mindset component, but not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's go straight into it. Like well, I think you started already, but the mindset, that shift that we have. What are some of the limitation that salespeople you feel, or folks that are selling, may have when it comes towards earning a lot of money, or being successful?
Yeah, I think one of the first things that people think that the people that are going to buy your offer are far away from you, or they're strangers, that you have to build this big audience first and you have to get all these followers, or you have to have go out into the world and like attract these strangers. And what I realized was that the opportunities to sell people at a premium price, not just something that maybe costs a couple $100s, but at a premium price, when we're talking 4-figure and 5-figure deals, those people exist in your experience already. The
Hmm.
first person who ever bought from me my cooking offer was my ex-boyfriend from high school. And then the other clients that I started attracting were people that were already in my world. I filled up my retreat. The people that came to my retreat were all people. One of them was a former coach of mine. One of them was a coworker that I had from a previous place that I worked. My mom purchased my retreat from me. So the people, like, I never looked at my mom and be like, yeah, my mom is somebody who's going to invest $6,000 to come on a retreat with me. Never
Yeah.
would have believed that. But when I actually started talking to her about the experience, she's like, oh, I'm interested in that. And then I went and did a sales call with my mom and she decided to invest.
That is
And so
awesome.
I think it's first the mindset of I always say this thing is like high ticket buyers or premium buyers are like Santa Claus,
Hmm.
and you have to believe that they're there first in order for you to see them. So if you
Yeah.
don't believe in Santa Claus, you're not going to have the magic of Santa Claus. And if you don't believe that your premium buyers are there, you're not going to see them. So the first thing is really having a belief that they're already there in your experience. And now you have to build the skill set to actually recognize where they are and then also learn how to convert them through your sales skill.
So go down that path, like, so the belief that they're there. Maybe you can help me to identify, pretend I'm one of those clients of yours. How do I go and tap into that? Because I know, like, some folks, sometimes they don't want to mess with their friends and family. They might say, people might, we've all been hit up in our inbox on Facebook or Messenger or on the gram. And it's like somebody got a new multi-level marketing, and it, automatically associate with that. So how do I adjust myself to change that level of thinking? And then how do I identify those people that could benefit from what I have to offer?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is that you need to be prospecting for needs. So I think what people
Mm.
will often do is just start looking at people around them like, oh, can they buy my stuff? No, that's not what we're doing. We're actually prospecting for a need. So you need to identify and understand really clearly who your ideal client is. And then you can start to look into your network to see, well, are any of these people hitting those markers of who my ideal client is? And once you've identified they have some of the markings that would make them ideal, having a conversation with them and being able to have the listening that you can hear a need that is attached to the problem that you solve and that you could provide a solution to. So if you actually know how to do that, then you can be able to look in your network and hear with different listening. It's almost like a new lens that you're seeing this through. I don't approach people and just be like, okay, everyone I know is now, an ideal client, because they're not,
No.
but there are going to be people in your experience that are, but you need to actually sit down and understand who is my ideal client. Where are they showing up in my experience already? What is the problem or the desire that I am able to help somebody solve or achieve? And then what are the buying indicators that would tell me this person is in need and is searching for a solution? So they are open to my influence. They're open to the presentation of a solution, and I can move them forward in the buying process.
Love it. So taking time to find it. I know you probably can go through all of that, but we don't have the time to go through all the details.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the idea is being again looking for some of those clues. Tell me, what are some of the clues you looked for? Let's say, for instance, like your ex-boyfriend or your mom. Like, what are some of the clues that you saw when you were pitching your service, your retreat at the time?
Yeah, cooking service. So with the retreat, for instance, my mom, she actually came on vacation with my husband and I to the Bahamas, and we had asked her to come as kind of like childcare. And so she's going to watch our son and help. And so she came and she was looking at the place that I had picked out, and she never really traveled with me on the way that I travel. And so
Yeah.
she was just like in awe. She's like, wow, this is so beautiful. The house you picked out. And I planned different activities for us. And we went on like a food tour and we were doing all these things. She's like, I've never really traveled like this before. Like, this is so amazing. I love it so much. And so I was seeing like, she's open to this kind of experience. And I know that on my retreat, this is the kind of experience that I provide. And then she started saying things like, I really need to do this more often. I need to like have experiences like this. And I need to take care of myself and prioritize myself more. And the literal like goal of what I say in my retreat is for you to prioritize yourself. And so I was like, okay, she's a person who wants to prioritize herself. Like, I'm hearing this because I know that that's the problem that I solve, is that people who are always taking care of other people. And I know this about my mom as well, because I know her personally, is she always puts everyone first and before herself and doesn't make time. So when I know that she's now open to the idea that she doesn't want to continue that, she's interested in a change, she's interested in prioritizing herself, then she actually had a conversation with my husband, and she was like, oh yeah, Natasha's doing this retreat. And my mom was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And so I followed up with her after my husband was like, hey, your mom said the retreat sounded interesting to her. So I followed up with her. I was like, a very clear buying signal when somebody says that your stuff is interesting. And that's how we got to that point. But I was listening throughout that entire experience of like, she's wants more of this. She has the problem that I help somebody solve. She's expressed an interest in the offer itself. Now I need to continue that conversation. I need to now be proactive about turning that into an opportunity to sell.
Love it. Oh, so good. So good. So being willing to, one, change the mindset about the folks that they're there. So the Santa Claus concept. Two, then listening. And three, then being willing to at least reach out to them and have that kind of conversation. What else can I do as I'm going down this path to make sales easier? Any other advice or ideas you have?
Yeah. So I think the next thing is really thinking about who it is that you're trying to sell to. And a lot of people will think about the solution that they provide and they say, the solution that I have, it can help so many people. It can help everyone. And so they start going out there and they're like, I'm going to sell it to everyone. And the problem is that yes, your solution can help lots of people, but it's not going to work if the people are not in a position to buy from you or they don't have a desire to buy from you. And so you actually can dilute your audience and dilute your marketing significantly if you're not targeted on not only the people that your offer can help, but the people that are in a position to buy. You want to be targeting buyers, not everyone that your solution can help. So I had an experience where I was talking to somebody online, and she was a financial planner, and she said, my ideal client, the people I'm trying to help, are people who have no savings and they want to build up a savings, and they're in significant debt. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And she's like, I'm having trouble selling. I'm not really getting people to move into my offers. And she'd been at it for some time. And I asked her a few questions, and I was like, well, are you open to what I'm seeing? Can I tell you what I'm seeing? And she's like, yes. I was like, well, the people that you're targeting are people who have no money. So you're asking people to invest with you who are not in a position to buy. They have no savings, they're in debt, and you're saying, spend money with me so that I can help you fix this problem.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, financial planning would be amazing for people that are in that position, but they're not in a position to invest. So if you're selling financial services, the better thing for you to do would be to focus on people who have money that they want to plan around. They have some money that they want to plan. They want to make future plans, whether that's investments or tax strategy or whatever, but they need to have money so they can invest with you and that they can leverage all of the strategies and all of the expertise that you have. So from there, we completely shifted in the conversation of who her ideal client is. She can help lots of people, but it doesn't make sense for her to target people who can't
Yeah.
actually invest with her.
Yeah, I mean, and I think there's in so many different ways, like we make the mistake sometimes to get chased, especially when you're starting off, whether it's an entrepreneur or if it's an established organization. Sometimes people reach out to you and you just don't want to say no to the buck or to the dollar, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes those dollars are not going to be, the margin are going to be way low. And I've done it where I've like taken on jobs before when I first started off just to kind of take on a job or take on a client. And then I realized, like, man, the amount of work I put into this and what I did, I paid them
Yeah.
to do work because I lost money on it. But going back to what you're saying, it's like really just hyper focusing on the people who are more likely to buy and being willing to stick to that. Like it just makes such a big difference in the long run.
Yeah, and what you were saying, I think also is one of the things I see with people who are experiencing burnout in their business is that they'll say, I just need to cut back in my time.
Mm.
And if I just work a little bit less, I won't feel so burnt out. But what I've seen is that's only a piece of the puzzle. It's also about
Yeah.
who you're serving and the work that you're actually doing. So if you're serving the wrong people, your clients can be the reason you're burnt out. You could cut back the hours as much as you want, but if you're working with the wrong people, you're still going to feel burnt out by that. Or if you're
Yeah.
doing the wrong kind of work, I had a client who she's a photographer and she added in this social media management piece to her business. She's like, I don't actually like doing that, but I can get people to pay me for it. And I was like, no, we're getting rid
No,
of that. There's
no.
many other people that will pay you for your photography, for your zone of genius. Don't add these offers in that you don't actually have any desire to fulfill. So we cut that out, and she's doing much better now because she's
Oh,
not
yeah.
doing things that she don't actually light her up in her business. So focusing in on the people who will buy, the people who actually desire change. And one thing I will add with that is lots of people desire results, but
Hmm.
most people don't desire change.
Mm.
So the
Oh,
thing to understand is, does the person that you're targeting actually desire change? Because that's what they're investing to do with you, is to change something about their behavior, their lifestyle, how they're operating so that they can see the new result. And the things you want to be looking for is, does this person understand the idea of investing for results? Are they an investor? Do they get that relationship? And are they somebody who's in a position to make an investment in order to see a change in their life? So make sure you're actually targeting people who want to change and not just people who want results.
people who want to change, not just people who want results. Absolutely love that. Um, there are so many great advice that you offer today. So many good things on ways that we can go about making sure that we're focusing on the right people, making sure that we overcome that beliefs, the limiting belief that the people around us don't necessarily need what we have. What are some of the things that I need to adjust to in order to be able to see this massive result when it comes towards uh, increasing my sales, or what are some other things that I can do to make sure that the mentality that sales is hard, is not something that plagues me.
Yeah, well, there's so many things that that's like a loaded question, but I'll start
I
with
know, right?
this. I think I can give you a laundry list. The first place I would start with is to really understand why you're selling
Mm,
and to understand the vision that you have for yourself and for your business and make sure that that's really, really clear. I always start, whenever I'm having a conversation with somebody, I always start with the vision of what do you want? And when
yeah.
you are working with somebody, if you're a salesperson, that's also where you should be starting with. A lot of salespeople start with a problem, but you should be starting with what do they want? What's the vision? Why are they here? What is it that they really, really want? That's the first question I ask in every single sales conversation with somebody. What do you really, really want? What's the big goal? Because they need to understand where they're trying to go. Second question that I ask, why do you want it? Why is that important to you? So you need to know that for yourself in order for you to be a very powerful salesperson. And then that's also how you are able to move people through the sales process effectively, is by being able to know how to ask those questions and elicit that information from people. But the first thing is, why are you selling? Why is this important to you? Why is creating this transformation important? Why are the people that you serve important to you? Because there's going to be lots of ups and down moments in growing your business. There's going to be lots of times when it's not going your way, it's not going well. So you need that for the sustainability. And you also need that so that when people say no, it's not going to be something that it feels as if it's a personal attack. It's not about you because you're attached to a much bigger context. The context for why I'm building my business is that, one, I want my business to be one of the greatest adventures of my life. And two, I want to inspire a world of Black female entrepreneurs. So when I'm in that conversation and somebody says something, whether they say no, whether they say, I'm not sure, or that's too much, like, I'm in a position where the vision that I have will propel me to say the thing that needs to be said, even if it's uncomfortable,
Mm,
because I want to inspire a world of Black female entrepreneurs. So that means that in that conversation, I have to challenge people. I have to be willing to go to places with them and be vulnerable in a way that will actually help them to be inspired to be the best that they can be. And so I'm not focused on being likable in that moment. I'm focused on my bigger mission. And so that often requires me to say things that other people probably don't say to them.
yeah.
But that's why they convert, is because I say the things that other people won't say, because I have a much bigger context and a bigger reason to be in that conversation than just to collect a few $1,000s.
Love it. Love it. So, so darn good. If folks out there listening and they're getting pumped by this message, if there's one thing you want them to walk away with, Natasha, what's that one major piece of advice?
Well, the thing that I built my entire business on is going all in.
Mm,
And that's why my business is called The All In Woman. I go all in. So go all in on yourself, bet on yourself, invest in yourself. And when you are playing, play big. Like, actually look at the things that you're setting out to do. And when you are deciding on your goals or the things that you desire, don't go after what you think you can have, go after what you really want.
absolutely love this. Thank you for the wise words. If folks out there listening to this want to get in touch with you, want to learn from you, to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, I'm all over social media. I'd love for you to come and hang out with me. I am at The All In Woman on Instagram and on Facebook. You can come find me there. I am launching my website. I actually grew my entire business without having a website. So I'm finally launching a website now. It'll be up. I'm working on it right now. It will be under allinwoman.com. But come hang out with me on social media. That's where you can find me, at The All In Woman.
Love it. Natasha, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today. Thank you for your insights and for bringing so much wisdom to us and helping us to adjust our mindset and to make sales a little easier. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Donald. I appreciate it.
That was Natasha Ho. I love that story. I love the concept of that retreat. I mean, even her mom jumped into that. And there's so many people. Her ex-boyfriend from high school bought one of her programs. But the concept and the idea that she shared there was really, it's fascinating, right? To think that we go often to the ends of the earth to find people when people are folks who sometimes are willing to buy from us are right here. and we just ignore them. So I would love for you to check out some of the things that she shared, listen to this episode again, and make sure to connect with her. If you know somebody that can benefit from her service, connect her with them as well. And if you've been, filled by the things you learned today on this podcast, please, 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 please go ahead and leave us a review. Share this episode with others. Take advantage of the offers our sponsors are giving and some of the great things that we have in our show notes. As always, I share stuff like this because I want to help you. I want you to build more pipeline. I want you to close more of that pipeline. I want you to raise your level of thinking. I want you to go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching.